I used to think that I was definitely going to be married, like with a stable life by 25. I turned 24 in 2 months, and I just want to be a lot can happen in a year, but it's not looking good, buddy.
I'm not even attracted to a man that can't do shit for me. Cute, don't cut it. Once upon a time, I'm not gonna lie, Fine Shit used to text me. I used to text him back, right? Fine Shit would ask me out. I would consider it. Never was I just out here laying down with men. No. I've always been sane enough to know that the cookie stays in the motherfucking cookie jar, okay? But I will say, I used to entertain a lot more foolishness, and I'm so happy to be where I'm at now, because once I got into the mindset of cute, don't cut it, right? What do you have to offer me? If you don't have shit for me, you can't be around. Then men started meeting me there and actually exceeding my expectations, right? Which I know is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Like, what? A man's exceeding your expectations? But yes, it has happened. It has happened. Now, does it happen all the time? No. That's why you got to have good discernment. You got to know to leave them right where they're weird at. Absolutely. But now that I know that a man can't be around me without doing shit for me, men that don't even have nothing to offer, don't even try it. It's like I have fucking bummery repellent on me. I swear to God. But how you treat yourself, ladies, is how others are going to treat you. Okay? So remember that. I love you.
I just get really frustrated with the discourse about people not liking men. Like, sorry, no one's perfect. It's just, like, not productive to harass people. Like, it's literally... And honestly, I just think that there's a lot of self-restraint that goes into, like, that men probably have to deal with today, because, like, I've been on this end of, like, groups harassing me and stuff like that. Like, the amount of self-control it takes for somebody who is probably, like, stronger than you, that could, like, actually hurt you. Like, why would you, like, want to go out of your way to provoke them? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not productive for society. It's not going to make them like anybody anymore. Like, it's not going to make them like people who do that more. Like, it just, like, it actually bothers me. Maybe I need a break from the internet, but something needs to, like, heal. Like, do I need to drop another video about, like, why we should humanize men? Because that seemed to, like, blow up last time and make a positive change for, like, people, like, coexisting. It's just annoying. And I grew up with a lot of boys, so like I was just thinking about this. I was just thinking, there's, like, I grew up with boys and men. Like, there's nobody that I, like, tell everything to, and I like it like that. Like, I just think people are so rigid with their ideas of sexuality, gender, how people should be, and it's like not everybody fits into your little gray box. Like, some people are a literal, like, galaxy sphere. Like, it's just rude.
Really understand what it is that most women, like, want out of relationships, and it's so deeply confusing to me, because a lot of y'all, like, even in the, like, most perfect version of your relationship, you're still echoing, like, think pieces about patriarchy, right? Like, it's the same, like, dichotomy, but just, like, it works to your advantage as a woman, right? Most women, right, they're like, well, I want a man who provides, like, who protects. And it's like, what does that mean to you? Like, what does that mean to you? 9 times out of 10, when you ask a woman what that means, she's literally only talking about financially. Like, physically protect her, or, like, financially provide for her, right? Like, I saw this video the other day, and she was like a man complaining about, like, not knowing where to park gave her the ick. And I'm just like, y'all complain about everything. Like, y'all want is so, like, insanely superficial out of relationship that I'm just like, maybe I understand why I'm single now, because, like, everyone's operating from this, like, societal place where I'm personally looking for something, like, spiritually transformative. Right? Like, if it's not spiritually transformative, I don't desire it. I, like, know that what I want is, like, from echoes of an old world or echoes of a past life. I just don't understand the concept of relationships these days. Like, most of the women that I know are, like, happy in relationships as long as the guy, like, kind of brings them peace, you know, he's nice, just this, like, sense of happiness. What I'm looking for is, like, this deep compatibility, like, in every aspect of the way. Like, I'm looking for somebody to, like, transform me spiritually. I don't just want to be wined and dined. I don't want to be just physically protected. I don't want to just be financially provided for. All of those things are nice, and I would not reject any of those things. But none of those things are even, like, remotely close enough to a sufficient relationship for me. That I don't want to say it's bare minimum, because that's not even bare minimum. Like, those are like extras to me. That's not bare minimum. That's extras. Like, I'm looking for soul level compatibility to a point where I can't even explain it, but I would know it if I got it. Yeah. Like, I don't even know. Like, I think y'all want patriarchy. You just want a version of patriarchy that's nice for you.
You know what I was thinking about? How in society we're always like, oh, men are lustful because it's a biological thing, and we make up all these I guess like excuses for men. But if you think about it, men know how to suppress their tears, their feelings, and that's a natural instinct. Tearing and crying and releasing those endorphins, that's natural. That is something all humans are supposed to do. We're social creatures. So there's no excuse for anything.
A boyfriend is not embarrassing. Being in a relationship is not embarrassing. You guys are so... I swear, sometimes going on the internet is like going onto a space where everyone shares one collective brain cell, and unless one person says it's okay to hop, nobody is ready to hop. Our generation is so afraid of looking like a fool that you literally don't allow yourself to live. Life is meant to be experienced, and I get it. I'm the type of person who wants to make sure that everything turns out perfectly, and, unless it is guaranteed to be a beautiful thing and be perfect, I become apprehensive about starting something. But to live your life only wanting to do something, or only wanting to get into a relationship, or only wanting to be loved unless it's 100% absolutely perfect, is so stupid, and it's setting yourself up for failure that's undeniable. Especially if you are Black and you are a Black woman. You need to date and have fun, and not everything has to be so serious, and not everything has to last forever, and not everything has to be this deep thing that you ponder over before you allow yourself to enjoy it and get into it. Calm down, guys. And again, I used to be like this. I have not had a boyfriend because I'm like, I don't find anyone interesting yet, and I need it to be this and this and this and this before I can feel like, okay, I want one. I'm not saying get into a relationship with just anyone, or get into or like give your heart to just anyone. That's not the point. The point is, our generation, and you guys are so black and white. And again, I am literally like this, and I used to be like this a lot more, but you're so black and white that you don't allow any room for context and nuance. And I hate that fucking word because it's been beaten to death on social media, but it's literally what it is. Like, you guys need to get over the fear of being embarrassed. Love is embarrassing. I'm not saying love should be embarrassing, but I'm saying, like, putting yourself out there, it's risky. You don't know if you're going to get that same effort back. When you go on dating, when you start dating, when you go on dates, you don't know if it's going to turn into something fruitful. That's also part of what makes it so special, because when you do meet someone that you really connect with, who sees you in the same light, it is so beautiful and so special. That's what's fun about it. That's what's supposed to be fun about it. But when you're constantly stopping yourself from even like getting to experience life because it's not serious enough or whatever, you're literally cockblocking yourself from experiencing something real. And again, I'm not saying date blindly or get into relationships blindly or saddle yourself with people's problems blindly, but love takes a certain level of risk. Finding, like being attracted to someone and going on dates and having a relationship with someone, regardless of the level of it, and expressing that commitment publicly, it's risky because you don't know what someone else can fully do, but that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it interesting. And I think it's, we started this movement of decentering, like whoever started that, girl, decentering men. It started out with a relatively good, foundation, but it got really bastardized really quickly because a lot of women who have only ever centered their identity around men and what they want from them completely turned it into this antagonistic thing instead of what it was meant to be. Love is risky, but you want to take calculated risks about who you give your love to, who you give your heart to. Take calculated risks, but don't make it so serious. Date, have fun. Be with people that you find interesting. Let yourself fall in love. Let yourself like someone. And it's okay. It's not embarrassing. And love out loud. Like, if that person does embarrass you later on, like, literally, who cares? Delete their pictures from your Instagram post and move on. Like, It's not that serious.
There is no woman in this world that settles more than a man. There is no woman in this world that settles more than a man. Okay? Once a man decides what role a woman is playing in his life, there's a 90% chance she's playing that role for life, okay? I don't give a damn if he placed her in the hoe range, the just talking to, the date sometimes, the girlfriend, or the wife, okay? And if this, particularly tickles your fancy, you want to be his wife and you become his wife, he's not leaving you. Whatever you want to secure, you have managed to secure. Congratulations, okay? Men could hate the life that they're living. But they're loyal to the duty of it all. You know what I'm saying? Loyal to the duty. Especially if he's like a normal functioning man. Like basically what I mean is he doesn't belong to the ain't shit category. And you throw like kids into the equation. The wife and the man have had children. I do not care what that woman has done. The man is staying with her. Okay? She could single-handedly be making that man's life worse. And he is still going to be with her, okay? The only thing remotely close that will actually make the man leave the woman, if that is his wife, right, is if this man runs into the girl that feels like his dream girl or the spark or special or whatever the hell, right? I don't know what be going in their mind, what be going in their head. But he runs into this girl and she makes him feel like she evokes something out of him, right? And he perceives that she's about like 80% better than his current partner, okay? And he has the courage to actually leave for said girl, okay? Because that's an important part. Most men are just going to cheat with her. You're still safe. If whatever you wanted to secure in, that marriage, that was the exception of sexual loyalty, you're still gonna receive it, okay? That's the good news to hear. But other than that, a man is in it for the long haul. So you pretty much got to do something major to fuck that up.
Guy in the comments said it's not even settling. Honestly, we just accept that's who she is and appreciate that person has unique traits that come with her. We don't judge her for them or ask her to change. We just really admire. I still love them the same, no matter what. Exactly. Another woman says, one of my clients told me how a friend's wife came out as lesbian to him. The friend is now putting them in therapy, figuring out how they can work it out. I don't know if they can, if that's what she wants. This is the type of stuff that men go through all the time. So it is what it is.
I just drove 8 hours for a first date. Let me say that again. I just drove 8 hours for a first date. And I am this close to putting this girl on blast. So let me tell you guys what happened. So I get a message from this girl on Instagram. And she slid up on one of my stories. And I was at an Indian restaurant. And she slid up and she said, "Wow, I bet you get your tikka masala mild, don't you?" I get a medium. But I actually said, "Wouldn't you like to know? Guess I'll have to take you out if you want to find out." And we started exchanging messages back and forth on Instagram. We were texting for like a few days. And we ended up exchanging actual phone numbers. And we were texting for about a week, back and forth every single day. Like, how are you? Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? Do you like penguins? Just stupid conversation. And this whole time I'm on FBI duty because I can't figure out where she lives. This was Instagram. It wasn't a Hinge match or something, so I didn't know if she was from where I was from. And eventually I just asked her, I goes, "Hey, where are you from? I just want to know if you're like close to me at all." And she said, "I don't really feel comfortable disclosing that information yet, but I really enjoy talking to you. Why don't we just keep talking and see where things go?" Okay, lady, fine. So we go through a whole nother week of just random BS texting, just getting to know each other, asking every question in the world. And the weekend rolls around and I'm like, "Hey, I saw you were at that bar. Do you want to try out this place?" And she's like, "Oh, I can't this week. Like, I have some stuff to do with family. I'm sorry." So what do we get? We get another week of just random texting back and forth, small talk all day. And the next weekend rolls around and I ask again, like, "Hey, do you want to go get drinks at this bar?" And she says, "Oh, I'm actually back home now. I'm actually 8 hours away from where I took that Instagram story. I actually don't live in your area. That would have been nice to know, lady. That would have been real nice to know. So here's a predicament I'm in. I could either tell this lady that I've been texting for almost a month and haven't met yet, hey, like, I really enjoyed talking to you, but I don't think the distance is going to work. We should just stop now. Or, crazy idea, I could come drive 8 hours to come see you. And judging by the start of this video, I'm going to guess you knew which one I picked. So I texted this girl and I was like, hey, how do you feel about me coming to drive down and see you for our first date? And she was like, oh my God, I would love that idea. So I booked my accommodations for tonight and I texted her, took the day off work and everything. And I was like, hey, I'm leaving. She's like, great, can't wait to see you. I'll see you in 8 hours. And I asked her, like, at any point in the drive, do you mind if I just, like, call you and check in? It's a long drive. She was like, absolutely, of course, I would love that. So I ended up calling her, like, halfway through the drive. And we're just talking about random nonsense. She's asking me what I see right now. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of highway, there's trees, it's raining, and there's a lot of cows. There's not much else to see, lady. You do a drive that long, you're probably just on the highway. But anyways, we're still just talking on the phone, and I can tell she seems like something's bothering her. And eventually she just says, like, hey, do you mind if we meet directly at the bar? Bar by her place. And I was like, I thought the whole plan was for me to drive up and come pick you up, and then we go to the bar. And she said, like, her roommates were going to be home, and they're a little bit nosy, and she just doesn't want me around that. And one, she never even told me she had roommates. So I'm asking her, like, oh, how many roommates do you have? And she says 2, and they're just always in her business, and she would just like to avoid that situation. She's just going to Uber to the bar and meet me there. And I was like, fine, sounds good. But after that was settled, she let out, like, a very big... like she was stressed, like still stressed or anxious about something. So again, I asked her, I go, is everything okay? And she starts going down the rabbit hole of, I was just really started thinking of, like, what if you don't really like me and you drove all this way for nothing and we don't even, like, connect and it was just a huge waste of time. And I could tell she's getting worked up about it, and she's consistently asking questions and seeking validation, and I completely understand that. And I'm starting to think, like, maybe this wasn't the right time for me to drive 8 hours for our first date. But I asked her, I was like, hey, if this is making you anxious, if meeting at the bar is making you anxious, like, I really don't mind if you're okay with it. Like, I can come pick you up from your place and we can go to the bar together. Or we don't even have to go out to drink. Like, we can just go do something else. And she says, no, I really don't want you to pick me up. Like, I don't want my family to see you. And I'm like, family? You just said you just told me you lived with 2 roommates. And she starts, like, getting all sad again, and she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't want you to think I was a loser, and I still lived with my family. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with still living with your family at our age. Like, people's timelines are different, but it makes me feel wrong that you could lie to me about something so trivial, so unimportant. It makes me feel like you can lie about pretty much anything. And I have, like, 20 minutes left of my drive at this point. And she's like, I know, I'm sorry. It's just, my family doesn't want me to date outside of my race. And she's not white, so you can guess how that conversation probably went. And I just asked her, why am I making this drive then? Why am I driving 8 hours to come see you when you knew this wasn't going to be easy or going to work out? And all she said to me was, Christian, I'm sorry. Like, I really enjoy talking to you, but my family just isn't really going to let it work out. Could have told me 8 hours ago.
So here's a guy that said, with all due respect, you dodged a bullet. Moving forward, no more long distance dates. Boots on the ground pursuing, no internet. There are quality women everywhere. Just go up to her and say hello. Listen, bruh. To drive 8 hours, I don't see it. You know, women always want you to do stuff that they're not willing to do. And then they say, well, you're the man, you're supposed to. No.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and actually don't correct me because I really don't care. I'm a single mom, okay? I'm also a single 24-year-old woman. As a single 24-year-old woman, there's a few things that I expect from a man when it comes to dating me, especially if you hold me in the caliber of where I belong. Okay? So, one, by the first or second date, you should have bought me flowers. If you don't buy me flowers, it's a no-go. Number two, you should be planning dates. Most definitely. We're not just about to keep texting and not seeing each other. Be intentional. That's number three, be intentional. Number four, being a single mom, I want you paying for the sitter. I want you paying for the sitter. The sitter's not even that expensive. But the fact that you think that I should come out of pocket, you want to take me out on a date, and you think that I should come out of pocket to pay somebody to watch my kid when you know what it comes with. You know what it comes with to date me as a single mom. I don't got too much of a support system. I can't just ask my mama. No, you can pay for the sitter. We don't even have to do an expensive date. We don't even have to do an expensive date. But if you don't think it's worth paying for the sitter to see me, especially when the sitter's not that much, it's like 30, 45 bucks, baby. If you can't pay 30, 45 bucks to see me, and you can even, if you don't got it like that, plan a cheap date. Baby, we can go lay down on the grass and stare at the stars and talk for 2 hours. But you're paying for the sitter. Because all I know is I'm intentional and I'm dating to marry, and my husband is going to pay for the sitter. Yeah. I'm sure nobody agrees with this. I don't care if you do. Because all I need is for one person to agree with it, and it needs to be my husband. Nobody else needs to agree with it but him.
Well, you gonna stay at the house. You gonna stay at the house. Absolutely. Stay at the house. Y'all are always wanting a man to pay for y'all's responsibilities. Why would he? Why would he? He don't even know you. You need to... Do y'all not get that a man is looking for somebody that knows how to take care of business? In his absence, you're going to have to know how to take care of business. And if you can't even take care of your own child right now, if you can't even make arrangements for your child, then what are you going to do inside the relationship when you and him have a kid? You're not going to be able to... He's going to have to make arrangements for you, the child, your child, getting your child to his baby daddy and back, date nights, trips, vacations. You're not going to be doing anything. You saying that you're 24 means that you need to grow up.
There's this guy at the gym, at my gym, that whenever he's like working out around me, he's always asking me like, oh, are you using this? Are you using that? And it's pretty clear that I'm not using it, okay? So the other day, he did the same thing. Like, I was stretching and he asked me, a few times if I was using something when I was not using it. I was just stretching. Anyways, I was like, in my head, I'm like, maybe he wants to say something, but he doesn't have the balls to do it. So I'm like, oh, let me say something. Mind you, I've never done this before. I'm very fucking shy. But I don't know, that day I felt very bold. Anyways, when I was about to leave, I told him like, oh, your shoes are very nice. He didn't hear me, so he took his headphone out and I was like, oh, I said that your shoes are very nice. And then this man put the biggest smile on his face and he's like, oh, thank you. Anyways, two days after that, I saw him again, and we made eye contact, but he didn't say hi, and I wasn't gonna say hi, so I didn't say hi. So we just made eye contact, and then after that, it's just been very awkward. Like, oh, like why did I did that?
It's true when they say you don't need a man, because look at me, I'm fucking working, I'm doing what I have to do to pay my bills, help my family out, and pay for stuff that I really...
Somebody in the comments said, I'm proud of you for doing what you're supposed to be doing. Thank you.
It's funny seeing y'all insult men by calling them women, because it shows y'all think women are whack. If being a woman was so great, you wouldn't use it as an insult. There's a large growing amount of women who hate the idea of treating the men they're dating with the tiniest bit of human decency or compassion. All they know how to do is take. Over recent weeks, social media dating discourse has ranged from women attacking a woman celebrating her engagement to women encouraging and supporting their friends to cheat on men, and now my video. A lot of women want a man who is generous, financially stable, not misogynistic, emotionally and academically intelligent, but when he wants the same thing, all of a sudden you want to put him down for wanting princess treatment? How do you expect to find a healthy relationship when you can't even reciprocate the same standards you want in a partner? Women have been dealing with the shitty end of the stick from men all throughout history, but what sense does it make to mimic the behavior of other bad people? All it does is reinforces the patriarchy and creates an alt-right pipeline that is detrimental to women. I have women in my DMs saying they agreed with my video, but were too afraid to publicly comment because they know they would be attacked for treating a man with kindness.
I actually despise the men versus women conversations. I think it's whack. I think people are broken and people need guidance and people need to heal their childhood trauma so they can love themselves. Therefore, they can love people better. A lot of y'all on social media make it really, really, really hard to have any belief in men at all. This is why the women would rather be alone. But y'all are confused why the women would rather be alone. But y'all get on here and say diabolical things like that. Of course, that's not all men. But I'm saying there's so many men who reject the idea of masculinity and leadership. If a man coming into my life isn't going to be a man to me, then why would I have him in my life? If he's not going to fill the void, if he's not going to fill the role, the position, then why would I be with him or entertain him? If I have an idea of the type of man that I desire and I want, and the man coming into my life isn't going to be that, then why would I engage, entertain, or deal with that? Now that women have more freedom and they're able to say no and they're able to say they don't want to be bothered and they're able to make their own money, now that women can live the lives that they desire to live without a man, the men are upset because the standard is higher and because women require more and require a man to add to her life. Because that's why the women that y'all have sex with who hit you with a two-piece after they're done, y'all don't like those girls because they make you feel useless. And that's another thing that doesn't make sense. If you're dealing with a woman who can do everything herself, y'all don't like those women either. And this is why I just believe that y'all are unhappy people, because you're never satisfied and you're never content with either or. You don't like hoes because hoes dish you like you dish them and it doesn't feed your ego. You don't like independent women because women taking care of themselves all the way around makes you feel emasculated. And you don't like women who need you because you take advantage of that and you literally drag her through the mud and you dog her. And then you wonder why the women want to be left alone.
But it's only required in one way. Y'all need to, as men, y'all need to be emotionally intelligent. Y'all need to be emotionally vulnerable. Y'all need to be able to communicate effectively. You need to be on my level as far as finances go. But when it comes into reverse, then all of a sudden, you're not there. You don't need to be there. And you're not going to be there until the man shows you everything that he needs to show you, when in fact he did show you. And so you're talking about standards, and your standards keep on changing. Your standards keep on moving. And the man says, oh, you want me to be emotionally vulnerable and available? Cool. So this is what I went through this week. It's not about you. You need to be worried about me. You need to see me as a woman. So it's for a lot of men, it's not equal, right? Y'all keep on raising your standards and y'all keep on, well, I want better. I want this. I want that. But a man is left out in the cold every single time because you're not listening to what he's saying to you.
Men aren't wallets and women aren't prizes. I wrote a nearly 10,000 word Substack article on what I like to call the female red pill, or I guess the pink pill, where different creators or life coaches or dating coaches like the Wizard Liz or Shira7 convince women that they should trade their authorship for adornment, that they should engage in a dynamic where women become trophies and men are wallets and dating is basically a transactional market. And despite women being convinced through these rhetorically appealing narratives that this is empowering, this is liberation, but it's not. It's a rhetorical script that eventually breeds suspicion in the opposite gender, and you constantly feel like you can't trust them, and it inevitably leads to a road of nihilism. And there's a reason why these rhetorics are so convincing. It's because these creators that espouse them and that propagate them are specifically manipulating them in a way to be more palatable. They launder misogyny through benevolent sexism. It's still patriarchy, it's still oppressive, it's still objectifying, but it just looks prettier. And it's also so persuasive because psychologically, when we've been betrayed or when we've gone through some kind of trauma or we have some kind of paranoia, rules make us feel safe. It gives us an illusion of control. And so when we've been hurt, we chase that control. Do XYZ, do this, and that, and you can successfully convince a man to empty his wallet and take care of you, and you'll be comfortable for life. It says men objectify us for our bodies, so why not objectify in return? Use them for their wallets. This kind of pessimism and cynicism feels mature, but it's not. It's just emotional insulation, and it will prevent you from ever experiencing intimacy. And these kinds of dark feminine techniques that this rhetoric tells you to employ to get men to do what you want them to do, and to use men, quite literally parallels and echoes the same sentiments as Machiavelli. And I don't say this with hate to Shira7 or the Wizard Liz, but I think what they misunderstand is that we are not thrones, we're not kings, we're not princes, we are not governments. What is fit to rule a country is not fit to rule a relationship. And if you were to employ the same methods that a ruler uses, you will never have a fulfilling or an actualized relationship. And the Wizard Liz, Shira 7, all these people who follow them as well and hang on to their word, they wonder why, in spite of the fact that I have followed this script, this rhetoric, step by step and rule by rule, do I still attract the wrong guys? Why do I still get cheated on? Why do I still get betrayed? One, because this very rhetoric attracts those kinds of men. And two, this rhetoric has convinced you that if you follow everything step by step that you can pick the right guy. No, you can't ensure with 100% certainty that you're going to pick the perfect person. You can have discernment and you can be diligent, but that's the most you can do. And some of the greatest philosophical scholars in history, from Plato to Aristotle to Beauvoir to Marcus Aurelius to Karl Marx, all warn against this kind of thinking and this way of living. Transactional bonds are not flourishing. And this kind of rhetoric only revives an old ledger or an old rhetoric of female exclusivity and female sexuality that is tied to property and status and is still tied to men and centers men. And at the end of the day, even if you follow this script, you follow these rules, you follow this rhetoric, and you get where you want to be, which is being a trophy wife, at the end of the day, you are still an embellishment. You're still an extension of a man, and you have zero successes yourself. You don't bring meaning to this world by being arm candy. And allow me some necessary crudeness and harshness, because I think this is a message that women need to hear. I'm saying this because I care, not to be mean. If you want to unpack this, go check out my Substack article.
In the book War on Boys by Christina Hoff Sommers, she has several chapters that talk about examples of schools, classrooms, and organizations that are really having success with boys, especially boys in lower economic areas, in areas that are underserved, underprivileged, of really great success. But her point of telling this is that those models, they're not talked about. They're not shared. They're not duplicated. In fact, she said, frankly, they're not even talked about. You don't see news articles on these things. You don't see media highlighting things that are good for boys and that where they're having great success. And when you go a few more chapters into this book, then she starts talking about a fierce force of women that stand against anything that is for men. These are lobbyist groups, activist groups, and because women have so much power now, I know we say in this country that women don't have power, we have ridiculous power. We make 80% of the buying decisions in the households. Do you think businesses don't care about women and don't really want to piss us off? What about voting? Women vote. Politicians don't want to go against women. So this narrative that our boys and men are just fine or there's nothing wrong, nobody wants to come against the women. And what they're even doing now, not all of them, obviously, but some of these organizations, these powerful organizations of women that are fighting against the man narrative are outright lying. They are lying. The statistics they have cannot even be backed up, and they have many of them, read this book, they flat out lie. And so I give a little bit of grace to many women because they're only using those talking points. They're only using those statistics that these people are putting out. But I want to encourage you to really seek truth because all you have to do is look around and look at men and look at our boys, look at who's taking their life at a 6-to-1 ratio, men versus women, how they're doing in school, how they aren't launching, how they aren't thriving, how they're not getting married, how they're turning to mass situations. I won't say that word on this video. We know. So, what can we do about it? Because that's the bad news. We must educate ourselves. We must seek truth. We must not just find the truth that matches what we believe. Let's really look at that because our boys and our men deserve it. And this is November. November 19th is Men's International Day. If we don't do it any other time, let's do it now. And let's stand for our boys and our men. And let's advocate for them. And let's speak the truth. And let's help spread things that are working for boys inside the classroom, outside the classroom. Our boys and our men, they deserve it.
I genuinely don't understand the men that complain that dating women is so hard because women's standards are somehow like really high right now and that they can never meet that. Because more often than not, at least in my experiences and other people that I know, it's always been like the complete opposite. Like most women's standards are like in the sewer. Like, it's awful. And at least for me, it wasn't until last year that I went on a date where on the first date, the guy offered to pay for it and pick me up and make reservations. That had never happened to me in like my years of dating until last year. Never. I had someone offer to buy a book for me on a date. Wasn't expecting him to offer that at all, because I had never had that happen to me before. And I almost started crying because I never had anybody do that. Not even my boyfriends. I just don't understand why men think that women have insanely high standards when the vast, vast majority of women will be over the moon if you just do incredibly basic, kind things like opening the door for them or offering to pay or to pick them up or showing up with flowers. Like, so many women have never had that done before.
Men rated the comments in my last video, saying things like, oh, women just expect men to have money, and women don't want love anymore, they just want money. This is why there's a male loneliness epidemic, because men are no longer willing or able to provide for women, and they don't see the value of being a provider in a relationship. This is why women don't want them anymore. I explained that to a woman. A man demonstrating that he can add value to her life by providing for her in some way is romance. And there is no romance to women apart from providership in some way. And then I also said that to men, what is romantic is really just staying together through the thick and the thin, through struggle, that she stays with him, that she's the ride or die. And the men who got angry actually proved my point, because they said, well, women just want XYZ and they don't value loyalty anymore and they're all cheaters. Right, so this is why men are so lonely today, because they are, I believe, no longer able, in most cases, because of where the economy is, they're no longer able to provide for women. So they get resentful that women still want to be provided for. That has not changed. It is an innate need of a woman to be provided for in some way. Now, I'm not saying that you have to give her luxury goods, which I think is what comes to mind for some men when you hear providership. But for me, what comes to mind is during the dating stage, there's an aspect of providership that needs to happen in order for a woman to feel romanced. And then there's a marital stage of providership that a woman needs to feel supported, romance, and that she wants to continue committing to you. In the dating stage, it's simple luxuries, it's little flowers, it's planning dates, it's taking her out to create nice experiences together that make her feel valued. That is the most important thing. Romance is conveyed when a man shows a woman that he values her by taking some kind of action, creating some kind of experience that displays that he values her. That is how romance is created for women. And men, you can argue with me all you want and say, oh, women just need to love me the way I am, and I just want equality and 50-50. That's fine, but that's not romance. That's friendship, that's partnership. That is not romance. And that is why men are having issues with romance. They're lonely. Then there's the marital stage of providership, where I believe that in order to sustain romance throughout a long marriage, you need two things. You need survival level providership, where the man is providing a safe home, food, nourishment. Her basic survival needs need to be provided. Now, a lot of women today are working so they can take care of themselves. But what about if you expect her to have a child, or if she's ill, or if she whatever? She needs to be able to depend on you. That is romantic, that you are dependable. Even if you're not actually paying all the bills, she needs to know that you could and you would pay every bill. That is an important part of sustaining romance. Long term, okay? And that is what makes women stick with you, the ride or die. But beyond that, it is also bringing in the courtship romance, where you still are occasionally buying her flowers, you still call her beautiful, you still take her on dates, you still make her feel valuable. That is also required to sustain a romance. That is part of the reason, the fact that men fail to see that, or they get angry and bitter about it, is why so many more marriages are failing, and why after decades of marriage, women walk away, because they no longer feel valued in the relationship, so they no longer see the relationship as value. If the relationship doesn't add value to their lives, why would they want to stay in it when we're in a world now where women can get value from so many different places? Now, I do not think that cheating is justified ever. I do not think that, the divorce rate is so high, I doubt that there are really moral justifications for divorce that contribute to 90% of women filing for divorce over men, and over 50 to 60% of marriages ending in divorce. Do I agree with that? No, but I don't know every one of those experiences. The point is to say that, you know, there's such a gender war right now with women feeling like all men do is use them and cheat and leave and abandon them and don't take care of them. And they just want to be taken care of. That's all they want. They just want to be taken care of. And they just want to be committed to and to feel valued in the presence of a man. That is romantic. That is what women want. And then men, what they want is this undying loyalty. They want a woman who's not going to walk away from them because so many women are walking away. But they are not willing to provide the necessary resources to sustain the romance that would keep the woman from even looking away. I guarantee, and men of course always have their excuses for this, but if you were to provide an emotionally healthy woman with all her basic needs and even sustain the romance in the course of the relationship, and she's not a psychopath, she's just a normal girl, you will get that undying love and loyalty. That is what happened in Rocky. That is what men failed to see, that he had to actually provide for her and show her his dedication and commitment to sustaining romance in order to get the long-lasting relationship. And I could even add this. If you demonstrate a willingness to provide for a woman, you will probably get her as a ride or die. What the ride or die is a woman who stays with you when you struggle, when you go through low periods, but she's still going to stay with you because she sees you, honestly, as a long-term investment. She's expecting that if she stays with you in the long term, you are going to continue providing for her and taking care of her. But if you do not demonstrate yourself to be willing, at least, even if you're not able, willing to provide for her and have a desire to provide for her, she's not going to be interested.
But what usually happens, I mean, you talk about this is the basic this is the basic that, and you're lonely because you won't provide the basic necessities. You're lonely because you won't provide the basic standard of what I need. I need to be taken care of. I need to be wined and dined. I need to be romanced and all that stuff. Your level of what you consider romantic continues to change. And a man has to rise and raise his level to that standard. But you get to stay like you are. You get to continue doing whatever it was that you were doing in the beginning. You just exist. A man always has to change. He always has to be ambitious. He always has to create. But you do nothing. When I come up to you, well, I'm expecting you to buy me flowers. I'm expecting for you to pay for the date. Men have continued to pay for dates, and women said, no, thank you. That's $100. Oh, well, you have too many women. Y'all just talking about the women that are extreme and they require you to pay $200 and $300. Let's cut them out. You're not going to want to go on a date with a man that's paying really honestly and truly any less than $100 for the date. To be honest, if you can get a plate for like at a pretty nice restaurant with all that y'all are ordering and the bill come out to maybe $100, that'll be a cheap date to you. That'll be a pretty average, pretty cheap date. And you'll be okay with that. I think the average around on the low end was about $60 for a date. And then on the high end was about $120, right? So even if we're talking about going on a date, I'm putting out $120 on the high end. Even if we cut that down in the middle, let's say $80, $90. $80 to $90 is a bill. It's an entire bill. Well, if you can't afford to pay that, you shouldn't date. If you continue to spend and invest $90 over and over again with the woman saying no thank you, your brain is going to be like, there's something else I can do with this money that would be better served. And you would be smart for thinking that, because the money that you're investing into the resource is not giving you a return on your investment. Modern women today are not giving a man a return on his investment. So you don't get the flowers. You don't get the Uber sent to you. You don't get picked up. You don't get the door held open for you. You pretty much get a high and buy. It's pretty much what you get. Because you come out there not really providing any value or showing what you could provide. Well, my contribution, see, and this is what it is. My contribution is me going around shopping for a dress. You want to do that anyway. Well, I'm so busy, I'm this and that. No, you want to do that anyway. That's what you want to do. You want to, oh, I want to get made up and it's fun to do this and it's fun to go vibe. And you like to do that anyway. It's just now that there's a little stress to it because you want to impress a little bit more. But there's been plenty of women out here that say, well, I love getting dressed up. I love going out on the town. I love just vibing, getting drinks with my girls. I love getting in the bathroom. Literally, she's saying this. I love getting in the bathroom and turning on some music, having a drink and just vibing out while I get dressed and I put on my makeup. And y'all like doing that anyway. And so now when it comes to a man, you already have the makeup. You already have the clothes. Your hair was already going to need to be done that week. Your nails were already going to be done that week. Maybe you pushed it up a little bit more and said, my presentation's got to be on point. Good for you. I appreciate that. And that's no shade. I actually do appreciate you for doing that, right? Because you could have come looking busted. A man probably wouldn't have noticed because that's not high priority, right? But thank you for doing that. The point is, that's what your effort is in the relationship. Just looking good. That is not enough. That's not enough. You need to be doing something in the relationship. How is a man to know this will be a good mother to my child? Oh, because I know how to put on makeup. Oh, because I know how to shop for dresses and do my hair. What will you do to let me know that my house is safe with you? My investments are safe with you. Well, I know how to apply makeup and do this makeup tutorial, and I know how to dye my hair, and I know how to do press on nails. What are you going to be doing? What can you show me that lets me know if I give you hundreds of thousands of dollars or access to it? If I give you access to $500, $1,000, $2,000, what lets me know that you're going to be able to take that money and say, okay, I'm going to stash this over here. Hey, I know something over here that we can put our money in and it's going to give us a return. You don't need to be some big shot Wall Street mogul, but on a consistent basis, because everybody makes mistakes, on a consistent basis, what are you investing our money in so that our home, our children, you and I, we profit, we grow, we elevate? What are you doing? Until then, the male loneliness epidemic, as y'all like to say, will continue full steam ahead. And men will be okay with that.